This podcast is a member of WildGamesProductions.com and D20Radio.com.
Hi, this is Frank Menzer. Whether you play Moldvay or My Edition or any other basic D&D, tune in next for Save or Die Basic D&D.
You burst through the door, you find a small room filled with golden jewels, and a red dragon, he starts to breathe. Save or die!
Welcome to the Save or Die podcast, a podcast about classic Dungeons and Dragons.
Bring on your goblin holes and band of oaks, hulking zombies and kabows, and oh no, no troll, don't slow me down, oh no.
Greetings, true believers. It's Save or Die number 93, the NTXRPG Con wrap-up.
Oh, yeah.
With you, as always, is voted best Tom Petty impersonator, DM Mike.
Hi,
And-
I'm Mike.
Exactly. And with me is voted best looking in a leather corset, even among the girls, is DM Liz.
Hi, I'm Liz.
Wow, boy, that's the truth, too.
Also voted best to fall down during a convention 2 years running, DM Glenn.
Shouty, everybody.
And the fellow voted most likely to hand out radioactive dice, DM.
Yeah, but you really got to bug him for him.
We didn't. He had no problem radiating us right at the beginning.
I had to whine like a little baby to get mine.
Apparently he wanted us to glow in the dark.
Ah, yeah.
Okay.
Could see us coming that way, I guess. You know.
And run.
Yeah.
I think you and Vince had hit the bar before you did that live cast, because you're like, your version is not matching with my version. You said, hey, how about one of those radioactive dice? I'm like, do you want one? Sure. And like later, I just quietly dropped one off in front of you.
Oh, you did?
Vince stole it.
Oh, did you not get one still?
No, I got one.
I thought Vince made us thief roll. That was pretty good.
Yeah.
All right, well, we had hoped that BadMike would be here with us for a recap, but he unfortunately injured himself while packing stuff away from the con, so...
Oh, dear.
Yeah, but he sent me a list of things he wants to make sure everybody knows about, and we'll cover it later in the show. But first, we're going to talk about what we've done in gaming since the con. DM Jim.
Oh, dude, you know how, like, if you're a hard drinker and you get up with a hangover and your answer is, have another hair that bit the dog? Have another one? I've gotten over my North Texas RPG Con burn by gaming 12 solid hours yesterday on Free RPG Day. I didn't know I still had it in me to do that.
Wow.
Ooh.
That which does not kill you does make you stronger.
It was awesome. I kept up with the youngsters. We played two great DCC games. Rick Hull ran us through the free RPG adventure for this year, Elsmon and the Blood Drinking Box.
The blood drinking box?
Oh, dude, it was 10 kinds of awesome. Wizard sends us off to bring back a box and doesn't bother to tell. And whatever we do, we have to keep what's in the box until we get it back to him. But doesn't exactly explain all the details. We get there, and it's this temple of people keeping whatever's in the box prisoner by feeding it a continuous stream of lawful blood. So guess what?
Box ghost.
So guess what we had to do the whole way back to the wizard? Bleed into it for 5 points. It had to be lawful character and it had to be voluntary.
Wow.
Nice.
So it was creepy and cool. And Adam Muskevitz. Oh, see, never mind. I just did this. I just had lessons on the correct pronunciation of Ypsilanti and Muskevitz. There it is. Okay, Adam
Jackways.
Adam Muskevitz.
Jakeways.
Who, Jakeways. You guys might not know. He's does a fanzine for DCC RPG called Metal Gods of Ur-Haddad, and he lives up in Ypsilanti. He drove all the way down to Cincinnati just to run a free RPG Day adventure for us.
Wow.
Cool.
So that was like 18 kinds of awesome. And you would, knowing you guys and your taste in games, you would have loved the game because it was all jungles and secret, temples from some ancient race of horse-headed people. And there was an elder god or an alien or something down in the bottom that was kicking our ass on a regular basis with his monkeys.
Monkeys.
So,
who doesn't love monkeys?
I know, right?
And I played the same cleric in both games, and I may or may not have been waving a 10th Doctor Sonic wand or Sonic screwdriver around as my holy symbol.
Cool. Alrighty then. Glenn?
I don't know how I can top that. Say that name again, Jim. No. We had the week later. We had our last Labyrinth Lord game.
That sucks.
It does. We wrapped up the thing about me getting the right hand of doom all black, and they fixed it and all that. And oh boy! Then this coming Saturday, I get to run Mutant Future, and after that, we're diving headfirst into 5th.
That's cool.
I'm going reluctantly, so we're gonna see where that leads us.
So you have to report back and taco up the podcast with that stuff. I want to know how it goes.
I'm going to fill the podcast with something.
Retro, it is alleged to be that you can play in retro styles. We'll see.
Well, I did have a complaint because he decided to try a couple of because he's seen the playtest and all that. He wanted to try a couple of things that they're going to do in 5th in the last game here, and one of them really kind of torqued me because he didn't tell us he was going to do it in the first. I found out the reason I got torqued is because he didn't tell us beforehand he was going to do it, which was changing the stat rolls.
He didn't do ascending armor classes, did he?
No, what he did was he said make a dex. It was a dex roll or a strength roll, and I was like, "Oh yeah, my dex is 18. Boom, I made it." No, you didn't. You didn't hit the damage class. No, so what? I rolled it. I rolled under my dex. I made it. No,
I see.
We're doing what do they call it? We're doing DC. I want to try it out. And it's like, thank you for telling me beforehand.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with house rules that a DM uses in their game. But I do feel like you kind of really should tell the players ahead of time.
Yeah, he just mentioned he was going to do a few like that, and I was like, okay, fine, whatever.
Oh, so he told you he was going to do stuff, just didn't specify.
Yeah, the game was underway. Yeah, I thought I'd try some of this stuff and stuff like that, and everybody's going, yeah, get on with the story. Mm. And so he took. It's like, what do you mean I didn't make it? I roll. It was a wisdom check. My wisdom is 18. I'm playing a cleric, and I roll like a 4. And I didn't make it. What do you mean I rolled a 4? I think it was a 4, and I didn't make it. And I said, what are you talking about? I made the damn roll. Well, we're doing this. All right, fine, whatever. Go. Do what you want to me. I don't care. Because I said
just not ascending armor class.
No, it was Labyrinth Lord, but he was so anxious to try some stuff out. That kind of.
Well, I did hear 5th was going to have Thako, so.
Yeah, that's what I heard too. We'll find out. I will be good boy and download the PDF and all that kind of stuff. And
so you'll be changing Thako's Hammer to a 5th edition podcast, right?
I will not. I will not.
That would be
first. That would not be good for my health. The other 3 would jump up and kill me.
Yeah. What, Jim?
James.
Yes. Oh, I was just thinking that would be 10 kinds of awesome, but no, that's just me.
Yeah, I know you, but
all right, Liz.
And that's it.
Well, we've our usual 2nd edition game. Let's see. Yeah,
we won't be the only ones not playing Classic now.
Yeah. Okay, well, yesterday, I got to admit, we were pretty light on adventure yesterday because once again, we found ourselves where we were having to spend our time, dividing up treasure, selling things for gold piece value because our DM is moving the campaign into a Spelljammer campaign.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
No.
Are you kidding? We got away from Faerun. I'm thrilled.
Now you get to fight vampires in space.
In space! Yes. So we were on the Rock of Brawl, and we had gotten there by using the Spelljammer helm that we appropriated from a wrecked ship, and that was...
And I finally got to use my skeleton T-Rex.
Yes, it was totally our fault that we wrecked the Spelljammer ship. We thought it was this flying red hammerhead shark. It's like, it's a monster, kill it. And it's like, no, wait, it's a flying ship of some kind. It's like, well, bring it down anyway. And,
Kill it with fire.
Kill it with fire. That's right. Well, we found out when we discovered it was a ship that some of the evil cultists that we've been trying to fight were on the ship. It was connected with them, so we felt totally within our rights to try to bring the ship down. But yeah, anyway, the ship crashed. We were able to retrieve that helm. We weren't sure what it did, but we were able to figure it out with appropriately used, identify spells and that kind of stuff. But yeah, we had to use someone else's ship to put the helm on to go up to the Rock of Brawl, because that's where, since he's making it into Spelljammer, he has changed the campaign to where the actual temple that we are trying to get to is up in space. So we need to go up there.
The Temple of Elemental Evil.
So it's in space, and we went up with this borrowed ship, and we couldn't keep the guy's ship, so we wound up, we're taking all of our magical items that we had in our bag of holding and everything. It's like, okay, what can we sell so that we can purchase a ship to place the helm into, and then we'll be dirt poor again and doing anything we can for the odd gold piece after we kill off the
space pirates.
Yeah, space pirates.
But we built a killer ship.
We have a killer ship, though. So, but yeah, we have a fantastic ship now, and we have our helm put in it. Our paladin bought horseshoes of flying for his warhorse,
who he insists on dragging along.
You'll remember.
On the ship.
You'll remember Widowmaker, the horse he couldn't actually ride because he didn't have a riding skill, and who nearly killed him.
And now it flies.
And now it flies.
And now it flies. And so he can rain death from above. But yeah, so yeah, that was most of what we did yesterday, was selling things and buying things and getting our ducks in a row so that the next game session will actually be going and making our attack on the Temple of Elemental Evil.
5 hours, 1 die roll.
Who's your DM?
Chase.
Chase, that's genius. Because I saw what you did there. We're going to shift this to a different campaign setting, Goldsink.
Well, to be fair, he asked us beforehand if we would be interested in moving to Spelljammer or not. So he didn't just arbitrarily, do it to us. And, for the most part, we all said, yeah, sure, we're willing to give that a try.
Just get me out of the Forgotten Realms.
But I can't wait to hear Mike bitch about, okay, I wanted to turn the ship, and I found out I needed the skill Navigation Interstellar.
Oh, yeah, I've already been prepping.
And I just know out there in the ether there is a spaceship with, at least 5 decks, maybe 8.
I don't have survival ether, so, die in space. Anyway,
so that was pretty much our last game session, was accounting, and so we're ready to go now.
Right, and we'll talk about our gaming at the con as we move into the show. And so, before we do that, though, we got a file from someone who's really cool for basic impressions.
I want to be just like him when I grow up.
Me too.
Wonders that defy my powers of description, the secrets that are mine alone. but which I would be willing to share with you.
To do then now would be retro. To do then was very nowtro, if you will.
It's coming. What? The idea, the spark. I got it.
Basic impressions.
Hello, everyone. I know it's been a while, but this is going to be a new episode of Basic Impressions. I wanted to speak about some things I'd found on the internet, and rather than clog the actual show up with it, I figured I would just go ahead and record a Basic Impressions to talk about it. As those of you with office jobs know, it's far too easy to end up surfing the internet and finding things about our hobby that we find interesting. I'd like to talk about 3 things I discovered. The first was on dragonsfoot.com or actually I think it's dragonsfoot.org. Anyway, a post by Scott Anderson called In Defense of Race as Class. I found this very interesting, and while I won't go over the entire argument he put forward, his main points were as follows. Namely, that dwarves, elves, and halflings aren't just funny-looking humans in funny outfits. They are different races, and thus they have different views when it comes to personality and classes. The idea of the adventurer is a human pastime, and those few demi-humans who decide to adventure as well are generally the exception rather than the rule. It may be a bit Tolkien-esque, but let's face it, there's a lot of Tolkien in classic D&D. But elves have their pastimes of living forever, singing and dancing and prancing and all that other stuff. Dwarves like to dig up and find precious minerals. That's what they, as a race, like doing, and that's what they do. Adventurers are going to be different. And even in that difference, that's a personality thing. And thus, having a certain uniform set of abilities makes sense for their race. Anyway, I found it a very good argument. Take a look at it whenever you get a chance on Dragon's Foot. The second one is at the Xenopus Archives, and it is a post that puts forward the idea of the Hobbit or Halfling from original D&D and Holmes as what amounts to a supplement ranger. The argument that's put forward on this idea is that at least up through basic expert Mulvey Cook, the Hobbit has a special ability to disappear in the wilderness. They have superior hearing to humans, and they get bonus on missile weapons. Now, it doesn't take much to extrapolate that into a predilection for the wilderness. Now, DMs, in order to make it a truly ranger-type class, might actually add in some kind of tracking as well, but that would really be all you'd have to add in order to have a decent ranger class without necessarily importing the thing whole cloth. Not to mention, it would give people a rationale for playing halflings more, particularly for wilderness adventures. Finally, this didn't come from the internet, but it came from some of my research as a history professor. One of the big arguments in classic D&D is the inability of having a lawful thief. Now, this seems to be a no-brainer on the face of it. Why would you have anything but a chaotic or neutral thief, since the very act of being a thief is breaking laws? Well, not necessarily. In Britain, from the 18th century back through the Middle Ages, a city watch was there to basically keep the peace, to avoid things like riots or physical attacks on innocents, that sort of thing. They didn't investigate burglaries. Basically, the person who managed to have his house broken into and stolen, or his purse stolen by a thief, if they were wealthy enough, they hired a character or a person by the name of a thief catcher. And this was kind of a bounty hunter in a way, but they had a lot of thief skills. And their job was basically to be hired to investigate, what we would have a police inspector or detective do nowadays. They would find clues, such as they were, and hunt up the criminal and drag them before the watch, who would then prosecute them for the crime, but they wouldn't go out and actually hunt them down themselves. So, it's a good way of having what amounts to a lawful thief class. While it might, on the face of it, be limited to a city setting, it doesn't necessarily have to. It would just give a good background for a lawful character having such abilities. Anyway, those are things that have been percolating on my mind with Basic Expert, and so I thought I would share them with everyone. Please write in and let me know what you think, if you think the possibilities are good or bad, or I'm nuts, either way. There will be links to both Scott Anderson's post and Xenopus Archive in the show notes. Till next time on Basic Impressions, happy gaming. What a thoughtful fellow.
Finally.
Comments and very introspective. I don't know what to say myself.
Somebody finally submitted a decent Basic Impressions.
Hey, they're all good.
Are you guys through?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
For the moment.
Fine. I thought you had some very valid comments there, Mike.
Well,
I
was
liked the
mostly
racist class thing you talked.
Yeah, I mean, that was mostly, credit where credit's due. That was Scott Anderson.
Yeah, but I'm glad he took the time to do that, because I think the thing that bothers people about racist class is the fact that tends to give the race, say dwarves or elves or whatever, a kind of like it's the Borg or a hive mind. They're just one little piece in a giant cog, and there's no individuality there, they feel. Well,
yeah, but again, even that's kind of, standing out as an individual in Anderson's interpretation is a human thing.
Right.
It's not really a elf or dwarf or halfling thing.
Yeah, he's afraid. The dwarves are afraid to go back into the mountain to the clan because we will be assimilated.
Mm-hmm. Or they just don't want to spend the rest of their life digging up crap. They want to kill stuff and check their spleen for emeralds.
Sure. Their own spleen?
No, whatever they.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
they don't have to leave the mountain to check their own spleen, I guess.
Well, I can't say enough good things about the Xenopus Archives website. There's always such fantastic articles there.
Well, they emphasize what version of that game is it?
Only the best version of Basic ever.
Ah, that one. Yeah.
Oh, Rule Cyclopedia. Okay.
Dude, the weekend I found that website, I didn't get anything else accomplished that weekend.
Yeah, I mean, between his own comments and then, the Holmes manuscript that he found for the predating the actual publication of it, it's like, wow, this is some.
It's been a long time since I saw that. I have to go back and look. It's been a long time.
Yeah.
But I agree with a lot of what you said, too, and I'll spare you the usual, this is what I like about DCC, because it does the same thing. I'll spare you that, except I didn't. But but there's a lot of overlooked nuances to Holmes and even the OD&D that people think they know how racist class works and don't really, and when you get into it, I mean, there's every mechanic you could ever want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one thing I will say about DCC that I have occasionally considered as importing into a house rule in my classic games is I do like that whole luck thing for halflings.
Well, when we were talking about what we did in gaming, we're playing first-level characters. Okay, my first-level cleric invoked a divine aid and summoned my god to sweep us all out of a TPK because I had the foresight to buddy up to the guy playing the halfling. And I'm like, okay, this is what I got to get off to make this work. And we went off the corner and we saved the party.
Although, let me say, Victorious has a similar system for victory points. But I just want to say that game was written in 2006. Okay, so no chance that it's a DCC ripoff. I just want to make that clear.
You gotta hip a brother to a pre-publication copy of that because I want to read it.
Okay.
I'm just waiting for it to come out.
Yeah, you and me both.
Yeah. By the way, Matt said they'd love to if you come out with quick start and stuff. Our group would love to try it out.
Okay.
I mean, we'll get to that when we're talking about the con, but I watched it being played and it looked like it played awesome.
Well, people seem to have a good time, even despite the comments I look like Tom Petty with my top hat and my sunglasses on.
That was one of the best parts.
Don't come around here no more.
That was not one of the best parts.
It was uncanny when I first walked in the room. I thought maybe Liz was two-timing you.
Mike Stewart, master of disguise.
Yeah, I had to suppress the, oh yeah, Mike, that's real costuming.
Hey, I got there and discovered I didn't have my tie, which I could have gone without, and my pants, which I couldn't have gone without.
Oh, come on. If BadMike can get into a Speedo and dress up like the devil for a midnight auction.
You see, that annoyed me. I didn't know that even happened on Saturday till I got his email. I was like, I missed that. That is awesome. How could I miss that? That was just too cool.
I'm glad I missed it if he was wearing a Speedo.
Well, okay, but the devil's suit, Yeah.
In
fact, that was how I was going to introduce him if he could have made the con. It's like voted most, best looking in a devil costume. I bought a lot of.
That is one handsome devil.
You haven't seen my blog entry, have you?
No, no.
Again, I walked in your game, thought Tom Petty was GMing it. I walked in the auction and thought John Levitz was doing the auction as the devil.
Listen to me, people.
All righty. Well, do we have any emails, Liz?
Oddly enough, yes, we do.
Get down, get down, get down, get down.
The Save or Die Email Hot Tub Time Machine.
Come here, you scrumptious little beauty.
Here I go once again with the email. Every week I hope that it's from a female. Oh man.
We're getting closer to caught up, aren't we?
Well, we're kind of treading water. We're managing to keep, maybe there's about 5 emails ahead of us every time we do this. So
okay.
We're doing okay. We're not backsliding yet. Okay. Well, our first email is from Kevin Long. And Kevin writes, "Hi guys and Liz. There are a few things that I have for you this time. First, I got onto your show from a coworker. It has now become something that if he listens first, he will tell me that my email is on the show. Or, like last time when I told you about the Blink Dogs, I said my email was not only first, but they made fun of me throughout the whole show. It was great."
Well, Kevin, your email isn't on this show, so don't worry about it.
Nice.
On the subject of the Blink Dogs, I believe it was the idea of the DM that when we retired, we would be going into business of mating them. If I can say something about a few of the shows, because at least one of you is on one of the shows I listen to. So I think it was on this show that we learned some of you don't like the Assassin. I have to disagree. The only version I don't like is the 3.0/5. I have also not played the one from the edition that we won't say, but I might next year at Tabletop Con or AetherCon if I can get in. If in 3.0/5 it was a normal class, I might use it more. I think it was in one of the shows on RFI that the boys kind of hinted at it not being cool that a guy would play a female character. If there was a problem with this, what is it? In the world I have created, the paladins are male and the clerics female. There are those cases in which the paladin is female, such as Amber or Cobber the half-orc male cleric. Not only do I play female characters, this year at Tabletop Con I was going to play DJ, my first edition cleric, but due to not having 1E games, I did it for the game that has a fake name, so I had a nun's costume made. It was great and most people loved it. The last thing I think I have this time is about how in later editions there is a lack of role-playing and more on the dice. I have been thinking lately, even though someone is going to make a search check or a perception check, the DM can still say, "How are you going to do this?" And then after they tell you how they are doing it, they make their roll, i.e., there is still an 85% chance that you are going to bend or lift. I know this is kind of long, so if we don't hear it until an email show, that is cool. Thanks, Kevin. Well,
thanks,
we
Kevin.
fooled you, Kevin. We read it before the email show.
And we're going to wait to make fun of you until we read your second email this episode.
That's right. We get a twofer.
Yeah, we're going to do it at the end of the show, so you have to listen to the whole show before you get to it.
So it wasn't this show. Who was having a problem with cross-gender role-playing?
He was saying RFI.
Yeah.
They had it. I personally don't have a problem playing a female character. In fact, I do in my 2E game. I can say that if you're with a new group, if you don't know how they're going to react, it can be kind of odd, especially if you do a lot of role-playing as that other character. I'd say it's probably one of those things you really got to know the rest of your players and make sure they're not uncomfortable.
Yeah, same thing for the nun's costume. Make sure none of your players had tragic Catholic school upbringing.
Yeah.
First.
A horrible backstory with a ruler, and then it's like, no!
I dodged that bullet.
But yeah, I don't know about you guys. I don't see any particular problem with that.
I mean, Glenn, I would pay $100 to see at a game in a nun costume. That would be some good stuff right there.
Well, and I would take
BadMike
I would take the $100.
Hey, Glenn, you've got a way to help pay for next year's North Texas.
Good, that's at least my registration there.
I'll throw it over.
Hey, how about $200 if I can talk BadMike into wearing the nun costume?
I'll throw it
No,
over.
BadMike would.
You wear the nun costume, BadMike wears the devil costume again. It'll be great.
I'll be the none of the above.
No, we'll do this as a contest next year. We'll raise enough money to pay for the web server so Vince can get some relief. Me and Glenn, we'll set a dollar pledge amount, and Glenn and I will show up in nun costumes at North Texas Con.
I will show up in nun costume and make sure I have at least a 5-day growth of beard.
You heard it here first, guys.
That's right.
Or, hey, I'm an actor. I got a makeup kit, There you go.
Yeah,
No. I draw the line at mascara. I ain't wearing no mascara.
What,
No, you're a nun. You can't wear
one of you can be named Nunya.
Oh.
I don't get it.
None your business.
Oh.
Knock, knock. Yeah.
Knock, knock. Who's there? Nunya. Nunya who? Nunya business.
You heard that here, folks,
assassin.
too.
That's right.
I'm the nun assassin.
I don't dislike the assassin. I just don't see that there's any practical way to have him in a party without them eventually betraying the party.
Really?
Well, even if you were a paid assassin for the crown, I think the problem would be that most of the group's adventures would have to revolve around assignments from the noble, and the assassin would have to have something, for him or her to be doing, all the time. Otherwise, they're just kind of, being a thief.
Yeah. A thief with serial killer tendencies, and
I mean, here's where I come out on it. It's an often abused and inherently problematic character class, but with the right players and the right amount of GM fiat, I mean, have at it. Have fun.
Yeah. It's easier in original than it is in advanced because, original, the assassin just had to be neutral. In advanced, they have to be evil. That's really tough.
Agreed.
Okay, well, was there anything else he asked? Or
talking about lack of role-playing on the later editions and more on actual dice rolls.
Well, I'm not going to say anything about skill checks. I'll leave that to you guys.
Just imagine that Mike is saying something about proficiencies and...
or in a word, bah.
Bah.
Hey, if I wear a nun costume, can I smoke a cigar?
We've moved on, Glenn.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
I think you'd almost have to, though.
Talk like this.
I gotta say, it's sweet when you're playing with an experienced DM who just you describe what you want to do, and they're like, "That's easy. You don't need to make a roll."
Yeah.
You just convinced me. Go for it.
The important thing to me is rolls. Rolls should only be done when there is a significant chance of failure.
That's right.
Otherwise, just do it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, our next letter is also from Kevin Long. And he writes, "Hi, guys and Liz. First, I started listening to your show by way of a coworker that may or may not have a crush on Liz.
Hey. Join the club.
You know Storky too?
So, Liz, if you could give a shout to Andy Chandler of New Skin, that would be great. Hey, Andy.
Andy Chandler.
That was not Liz, by the way.
Hi, Liz.
I'd even Candyland.
So, hey, Andy. Good to know you're a fan. Second, Glenn, you want to talk about me starting my letters, Hi, Guys, and Liz. It is because she is not a guy. But if it makes you feel better, I can start with Hi, Group, O, and Glenn.
That sounds more typical, really. I'm used to that. And Zoidberg. Yeah.
Hello, friends, and Glenn.
Glenn and friends.
If you really want to make Glenn happy, with your email, just mention Thakos Hammers about 12 times in the email. That'll do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you want to make Jim happy, keep going with the DCC. Boom.
So, with the role-playing, the game Go is a Japanese game, and the monkey was a better player than the humans, so they almost killed him. You guys may remember one of the last letters we read from him an episode or so ago. He was talking about one of the campaigns, and in the campaign, the players were playing Go. So,
that was the one with the magic acorn, wasn't it? I think it was, actually.
Last, and again, this is a reference to one of the letters that we read before, and we were talking about this. The Grimm fairy tales comic are dark, not as dark as the stories of the same name, and the heroes are trying to help the Queen of Hearts grow her kingdom. Shortly after, the cleric decided he would worship the Cheshire Cat. He was not able to come anymore. So now I have to start over, and they will start in the search for the unknown. Ooh, B1. Your number one unlit torchbearer, Kevin.
Gotta get him to light that torch.
Worship the Cheshire Cat as their deity. That would be awesome.
Can you imagine the holy symbol?
That would be a chaos god for sure.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't mean chaotic as in quote-unquote evil, but, just
more like
chaos.
Anarchy.
Yeah. Alrighty. Our next email is from Vicshade Technolich.
Vicshade.
Vicshade.
It sounds like a new TV show. Vicshade Technolich.
On the Grand Duchy of Karamikos.
Uh-oh.
Here it comes.
Here it comes. That's right. Yeah, you and Jim are going to get it. You say in the beginning of the podcast that you are a fan of attribute checks. Why have a grudge on a simple system that lets a player choose 4 things that he gets a +2 bonus doing? It still uses attribute checks. You just treat your attribute as 2 points higher. Seems just about perfect to me.
Huh?
I
disagree.
What is wrong with having appointed knights title and self-proclaimed knights class option?
Yeah, Mike, what's with you?
Well, I think it's confusing, especially when you have people going around using that. I mean, I don't like it.
Wrong is a strong term. I mean, if you're having fun, you're doing it right. So,
oh yeah. If it works for you, great.
And where in any book does it say any character should ever refer to themselves as a level X anything? I know it says all the class level titles don't exist in Karamikos, and they were taken out of the game from 1978 on, but where does it say, as was implied on the show, you should just state your level? Well, I got that from, I think it was page 6, where it talks about character creation, and it pretty much said, don't use the level title, just use your class level. And it just seems goofy to me, because realistically, who is going to introduce themselves as, I am a second level magic user?
Yeah, or I am, Markar the first level magic user, or I am Markar the medium, which sounds better.
Which is rare.
Yeah, I'm still trying to work my way up to name level podcaster.
I mean, I think that one way you could do it and have it sound, kind of conversationally normal would be, instead of using the word level, you could say, I am Marcos, a magic user of the second rank or the second circle, and just use that in place of the word level.
There you go.
But yeah, it said, or that was how I read it, don't use the level title, just say your level. And
well, you can go back to the old I'm a prestidigitator.
So, I mean, maybe I read that incorrectly, but that was what it seemed to be saying to me. Don't use your level title, just write down, I'm second level whatever.
My magic user, first level magic user, walks into a bar and says, "Hi, I'm an arch wizard." Yeah. I mean, because
well, you could, but I don't think it last long.
Hey, don't laugh. We had a guy in Texas do that in a game.
All right, let me see your license. Says here, you're just a medium.
That's rare. Medium rare. Get it? Oh, these country folk.
I'm a small medium at large.
Oh!
But I'm ching.
Wow.
Ouch.
I like that even better than when you cuss.
Even better.
I think your fanboydom goes up a notch when you cuss on the show.
Well, no one would, because it always gets out. So.
Yeah, but they use their imagination.
Okay. So anyway, that was where I got that from. I believe it was on page 6, and you can write in and tell me if I totally misunderstood that, but that's what I got from it anyway. Okay, going on. He also says, the immortals of Mystara are very well detailed in other material, but yes, they are vague in that particular source, because the core rules, Mincer, state that you should just keep gods out of the game. Don't sleep on Mystara halflings. Don't sleep on halflings? When you get
I hope not.
When you get to their Gaz, you will have learned a new respect for them. Wait till you read the Ballad of the Halfling High.
That sounds like something we were talking about before the show.
Is this a translation for Google Voice?
Well, Middle Earth was obviously before America continents were discovered, and they're smoking something in those pipes.
We love the crime and punishment rules in our groups. Having characters use advocacy for being accused of basically being murder hobos was always a great source of all role-play sessions. To each his own, I suppose.
Yeah, my biggest problem with that, though, is that it actually encouraged you, that the book told you to get the PCs into a crime situation to make them basically do it, and that was my biggest problem with it.
I would switch it up. I get them into a crime situation, then I pull out City State of the Invincible Overlord and use that crime and punishment. You're in big trouble now, boy. Yeah.
It's the straight and narrow for me after that system.
Yeah. Don't worry about your legs, son. That's why God gave you two.
He goes on to ask, what the hell is a Xenopus? Well, it's like an octopus, only a lot larger, and anyway.
And it's got a cream filling, and...
Xenopus! Go to Xenopus Archives at xenopusarchives.blogspot.com. Right. Xenopus is spelled with a Z, Zenopus. Archives, you can spell that.
Yeah. Its D&D reference is to, in the Holmes, the first basic set, there was a sample dungeon in the back, which was the dungeon of the Tower of Xenopus.
Yeah, so you never actually got to meet Xenopus in the sample dungeon. He's either dead or disappeared. It's up to you as the DM.
Or lurking in lower levels.
Yeah, you can have him be there or not as you like. But anyway.
I got a question, because you guys are even younger than me, but I was still a teenager. When we first read that, we thought that was funny. We were like reading through the rules. Xenopus. They said Xenopus.
No, I took it totally seriously when I was course, I was like 8 or 9. So
when I was living in Chicago, shortly, a friend of mine bought the home set, and we didn't know anything about D&D, and we basically spent most of our time laughing at the gods' names.
Gods?
Yeah.
There aren't any gods in the Holmes book.
All right. He was laughing at some kind of names. We were mostly making fun of the names.
The monsters?
Yeah, and we just couldn't, we couldn't comprehend how this game works. It wasn't until like 3 or 4 years later when I actually got into it. Oh, okay, I see what they're doing.
Ah, okay.
Hey, I didn't I didn't lay out the $10. I didn't care.
Okay, continuing this episode about Vic Shade.
Yes. Vic Shade goes on to say, "So glad you mentioned the shearing ceremony. I love it that this is the perfect way of sending off PCs into the adventuring life.
Yep.
Sanitation equals magic. Medieval European cities didn't have charmed gelatinous cubes as street sweepers. There is an adventure in the expert set where the giant black pudding that is used as a waste dump shakes off its charm monster and escapes its walled prison. Adventures versus colossal garbage pudding."
Well, they didn't really go into that in the Gazetteer. And again, that's, that is a way of dealing with it. But of course, with the excuse it's magic, you can do all sorts of things.
Oh, yeah.
Song of Halav. I think you guys will really like the way the Gazes all have their history written in 2 parts, as the players know it and as the immortals know it.
That's cool.
I used a Nosferatu against a level 3 party just last Monday night.
Right on.
I could never have used a true vampire, even with their scroll of undead ward.
Oh, you could have. and it would have been awesome.
My son, you're mistaken. Nosferatus are true vampires. Thank you very much.
Final point. Bargle! No one can argue with Bargle. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of the Gazetteer line. My favorites are Karamikos.
Hadn't noticed.
Glantry.
Sorry, Vic.
Elves of Alfheim. Probably in that order. I love this product. I have been using it and the other Gazes for over 20 years of continuous gaming, and there are still many elements we have never touched on. It is a sandbox tool. Keep what you love, forget the rest. Rename it, reskin it, reuse it, and make it your own. I love you guys. I'm still listening after all these years. I will forgive you any indiscretions on this very close to the heart subject for me. LOL.
Thanks, Vic.
My year-long Mystara Mondays game is still going strong on Roll20 with Labyrinth Lord Advanced and the Grand Duchy of Karamikos.
All right.
Keep on making them. I'll keep on listening. Game on, Vic Shade.
Thank you, Vic. Thank you. And if you ever have a line on a spare Gaz 9, please let me know. I'm still looking for one. So complete, almost complete.
Well, Vic pointed out several things in there that just point out, a lot of our opinions are just that, our own opinions, our own perceptions. And hopefully our reviews not only give our own opinions and perceptions of a product, but give enough data that people who disagree with us might go, well, I want that.
Yeah, this was why we didn't care for this particular thing. And, you might be listening and think, gosh, from what you've said, this sounds like it's right up my alley.
Yeah.
I want this.
Well, if we do our jobs right, that's what we do even when it's not to our personal taste, which I think we certainly tried to do that.
Yes, folks, we sell games.
Yeah, until Mike and Jim both gave it 2 dragons, 1.5 dragons? What did you do?
Well, sorry. I mean, looking back on it, I might have given it a 2.5 because, what seemed very almost kind of cardboardy and stock. Well, if you're a brand new, totally new DM, maybe you need that.
Yeah.
But, just my own feeling, there were some good parts in there, but on the whole, it's, just not something I would use. Certainly not intact.
True. And it all made it all worth it just for Fort Doom.
And Hendrix.
Van Hendrix, the mustache twirling villain. We have to come up with steam engines so I can tie people to them.
I have a quick question before we go to the next email. Is it true that I'm not up on my Menser edition because I own it, but I didn't play it. Is it true that there are no deities for the clerics in Menser D&D?
Yes. I mean, first thing I wanted to say was, well, Jim was right there, or Frank was right there. Why didn't you ask him at the con? But
because we didn't have this email.
That's true. There were as far as I know, there are no deities in
yeah. And that's one of those things I don't agree with. But considering where D&D was at that time, the mid '80s, and TSR, I understand it.
Yeah, well, I see the Immortals thing is basically make your own gods.
But they're not gods, they're immortals, wink, wink.
Well, yeah, exactly.
It's a totally different name, wink, wink.
Here's how to make an immortal, a.k.a. G-O-D.
That makes sense,
the Papazu and Tanari in 2nd edition.
Yeah.
We don't have demons and devils, wink, wink.
And those were contemporaneous, so that makes sense.
More or less, yeah.
Yeah, about the same time, too, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
You got it.
Sorry, I was just ignorant and actually wanted to know.
That's all right.
I'm not a Menser guy myself, so.
That's
why we have Glenn here.
Well, yeah, if you want to write these questions down next June, I could ask Frank.
Or come to North Texas and ask him yourself.
Okay. All right. Any more emails?
All right. We got one last email. And this one is from Dean Forsyth. And Dean writes, "Hey there, SOD. Greetings from Rhode Island.
Hi.
Hello.
It's taken me about a month, but I just finally caught up after starting at episode 1.
Wow.
Good Lord."
I salute you, sir.
That was before it was good. Wow.
Yeah.
If that didn't scare you off, nothing's gonna.
I know. I mean,
that which does not kill you.
It's bittersweet. I don't want to wait for episodes now. I could try RFI or Tacos Hammer. Get it?
That's good.
But what about Mike and Liz? Yeah, what about us?
What about us? Indeed.
Yeah, RFI is kind of a step down. I know.
I'll probably be emailing with a lot of questions in the future, but I'll start slow. This one's for Glenn.
Slow, yeah.
Would you mind sharing the info/stats on Warhammer's Skaven that you imported to D&D? I've always thought they were an awesome creature and would love to use it in Swords and Wizardry or Microlight 74. Thanks, Crunch.
Sure. I will add, that was actually Matt Odinist who did the conversion, but I'm sure he would have no problem unless he wanted to sell the book therein, then there would be a problem. But hey, I'll give
that because Skavens are.
I mean he calls them Ratton, but it's the same thing.
Okay.
But it's like it's in his Adventures in Mythgarther book. Email me. That's all I can say is email me.
I was going to say, well,
Hammer@gmail.com.
Yeah. I guess if Matt was okay with it, we could maybe throw up the stats on the webpage with the show notes, maybe.
With a blurb saying if you like this, try his book, and that's a little more publicity.
Or just a link to him.
Yeah, I can do. Either way, we'll get it to you.
Alrighty, and that is our emails for this episode.
Thank you.
Woohoo!
Thank you all.
And if people want to write, where should they write? DM Glenn?
saveorddiepodcast@gmail.com.
Or send us a voicemail at 940-536-3763.
My computer took over there because I was bound. I would be bound to be saying Thaco's Hammer. So
just let the computer handle it.
Yeah, let the computer handle it.
Alrighty, well, let's break. And then when we come back, we shall start talking about North Texas RPG Con 2014.
The Save or Die Top 5. In 5, 4, 3, 3, 2.
Top 5 for the North Texas RPG Con. And it's probably going to be tough to narrow it down to just 5 for each of us. But before we begin, we'd like to send some thoughts out to Jim Ward, who is currently in the hospital, having some major health issues. Mm-hmm. We'll all think about him, and all listeners hopefully will pray for a speedy recovery.
He's in our thoughts and prayers.
Get better soon, sir.
Yes,
that's
please.
right. The warden needs you.
Yes, we need you to kill more players next year.
No, player characters.
Player characters.
He doesn't kill players anymore.
Anymore.
We keep running out of them that way when you do that. Anyway.
But, my God, Godspeed, guy. Please get better.
Yeah. All right. So, first impressions of the con. DM Liz.
Okay. Well, as usual, it's getting bigger every year. Very well run again, I thought. I'm very glad that we're staying at the Marriott, for a second year in a row. And from what I hear, we're going to be at that same location next year. So location is good. Staff, very helpful. Very, very kind to all of us. It really is running like a well-oiled machine now, I think.
No? Jim?
I mean, Doug Ray and Mike Battleotto are the two hardest working con runners in showbiz.
That's right.
That's no joke. I mean, because up at GaryCon, I watched Luke Gygax and Dale and the crew, work their butts off. But, they've got a few years on Doug and Mike. Mm-hmm. Those guys are working hard. I can't help but do, comparison between the two, since I've had a couple years now going to both. And the thing that is really nice about North Texas Con, it's about the same total footprint in terms of table space as GaryCon, but at North Texas Con and at Marriott, it's all on one floor, which is really nice. You just, from the dealer area to free gaming to the games, it's just to the restaurant, it's all right there in one nucleus, which is very sweet.
Yeah. And I heard we're going to have the entire con, or the entire hotel for the con next year. So we won't be sharing it with George Strait groupies, I guess.
So I can run like a game in the gym?
Or IBM people where...
Poolside. That's where I want to run my game.
Yeah.
There you go. Especially with Texas heat.
Yeah,
that means we can't steal IBM's lunch anymore, so...
have some little drinks with umbrellas in them. It'll be good.
Find one of these gazetteers where everything takes place underwater.
And then when you drop your dice, better hope they float.
Well, I seem to recall there had been talk at one point about getting Michael Curtis to run a game entirely in the pool, and everyone was going to have those little, inflatable inner tube rings and stuff. And
oh, boy.
Don't give him any more ideas, because Dallas in space about killed me.
All right. Glenn, before we get into details, Glenn, do you have any overall impressions you want to share?
Oh, man, dice characters. I operated like a well-oiled machine, and believe me, with all the booze, I was well-oiled.
Except for Saturday night.
Except for Saturday night. Well, actually, I started to, but it's like $13 for a Boilermaker. Thank you very much, no. But, yeah, it's just, like you said, that thing works like clockwork. From the registration down to the dealer's room to the games to the open game, everything just sort of meshes. And it's like you notice, like when the vendors that have returned, they all get their space. They know what their space is. They know what's going on. And you want Frog God, go around the corner. I know. And that artist alley, I love the artist alley. That was great.
Yeah. Okay.
That's mine.
All right. Well, then let's talk over the number 5s. And for me, I'll say I liked getting the Been to All 6 Cons t-shirt.
Those were sweet.
Night of the con. or something along those lines. I forget exactly what it was, but it was a T-shirt that only people who had been to all 6 cons got one.
That's right.
And I thought that was pretty cool. BadMike had told me that Doug had originally planned on doing it on the 10th year, but couldn't wait, so it ended up being 6. So
yeah.
All right, Liz, your number 5.
Okay, my number 5, Darlene was there.
Oh man!
Woohoo!
I think that's just fantastic because, the last time I had been to a convention that she was a guest at was TrollCon, back in, what was that, 2007, 2008? Somewhere in there?
6 or 7.
Yeah, somewhere in there,
It's
yeah.
been quite a few years.
So, yeah, I have not seen Darlene as a guest in ages at a convention, and I was just so impressed that Mike and Doug were able to get her this year, and being able to play the Jasmine card game with her was, just a really big deal to me. That and doing the Bunnies and Burrows last time around with Dr. Sestair. Those are my 2 my gaming mecha moments.
I wish you could have seen the smile that was on your face when you were playing Jasmine card game with Darlene.
It was so much fun.
It's like the first time I met Jim Ward, and I just couldn't get over, here's the guy who wrote my favorite game.
Yeah.
So
Liz was squeeing.
I'm normally not a big card game person, but that one was a lot of fun, and what I liked about it was that, it's not a collectible card game. It has nothing to do with how much money you have and how many booster packs you buy. It's just the cards that come in the basic set, and what you get is totally random based on how you draw, and it was a really cool game. I liked it a lot.
Come on, be honest. Your favorite thing about that was you beat Darlene at her own game. You won.
That I was very pleasantly surprised that I actually won the game, because I did not expect to do that.
Hey, Liz,
Want to recount?
Okay.
All right, Jim, your number 5.
My number 5 is this year they changed it to where there was the regular auction and those really crazy midnight auctions. Both for the entertainment value of Mike Battleotto dressed up like John Levitz's devil in Saturday Night Live. That was great.
Yeah, I missed that. I didn't find out that even happened until after the con. It's like,
But what happened with the midnight auctions is some of us regular folk who aren't billionaires got a chance to bid on stuff at decent prices. Which, as you know, and Gary Con's the same way, the regular auction, there's some money flying around, and that's just not the world I live in right now.
It didn't used to be that way, too. I used to go to auctions at cons and come away with some decent stuff for decent prices, but now too many people with deep pockets out there.
Well, that's great if you've got deep pockets. Yay, you. I just don't have it.
Yeah, right. Same here.
All righty. Glenn?
B1. First thing out of the chute.
The dog lived.
And I credit you, Liz, because I was in another level trapped, and you had the dog, and it was only because of you that he lived. So it's me, I think.
Oh my gosh! I was so convinced that.
To clarify, that's Mike Battleotto's B1 basic expert game, the B1 in Search of the Unknown on Thursday night.
He runs that every Thursday at the con, and I've played it for 4 years running now. I'm going to play it again next year, which I'm thinking maybe it'll be my last time.
Okay.
I thought I might, after next year, I think I was like, give somebody else a chance, to play it. Because it fills up like that quick.
Oh my gosh, yes.
There's like 2 annual events. Mike runs B1, and the other annual event is Glenn plays, takes a dog into the dungeon, and it immediately dies.
Yeah.
So I heard the story in waves. First I heard you got the dog through the dungeon alive, and I'm like, how the hell did that happen? And then I heard, because Liz had the dog. I'm like, all right, now I know.
Yeah, so it's me. So Bollock 4 lived, which is great, which means I don't need a Bollock 5 next year.
All right. I guess number 4 for me would have to be I enjoyed being able to run my Victorious game.
Oh, yeah.
although it was at the crack of 11 a.m. on Sunday, which was kind of rough for people. But, I think everybody had a good time.
You had a lot of players.
Yeah.
I liked it, but then I'm a bit biased, but yeah.
Okay, Mike, I guess the question is whether it's released or not next year, you'll be running it again?
I'll be running it again, whether or not it's released or not.
Good.
If it's not, I'm going to just start handing out quick start rules to everybody, and to heck with it.
Good. Then you hope you get a better time.
Yeah. All right, Liz, number 4.
Okay, this one is not so much of something that I liked, but it was something that stood out to me. As far as I was concerned, I had some confusion between what the menu for the restaurant itself was and the menu for the concession stand. Once I was there for a couple of days, I got to where, I figured it out. But, starting off, I was a bit confused about, okay, so where are these sandwiches and stuff, because, the last year we had that menu given to us when we were sitting in the restaurant eating. But, the special menu that they came up with just for the North Texas RPG people, with the lower priced sandwiches and burgers and stuff. The last year that we were there, when you sat down to eat at the restaurant, you told them you were with the con and they would bring you that lower priced special menu with the limited choices. And this year, that menu was only through the concession table. It wasn't with the restaurant itself. And so I think the first day that Mike and I went to the restaurant to eat, I was expecting the gamer menu, but that wasn't there. And so, we were already there and ordered our drinks and everything. It's like, well, okay, I'll get the higher priced sandwiches there. So I kind of wish that there had been a little more of an obvious thing about that, but it wasn't a deal breaker for me. And by the next day, I had figured out what was what. And it's like, okay, we want the cheap sandwiches. We order through the girls.
Right. The serving winches?
Yeah.
You just reminded me, I passed an alignment check with the serving winches because Doug Kovacs and a bunch of them conned me into running Mutant Crawl Classics, which wasn't a con game. We were just out in the atrium playing, and Jessica kept coming by going, can I get you some dinner? And I'm like, no, thank you.
It's like, this isn't an official game.
All right, your number 4, Jim? Or was that your number 4?
Oh, no, I'm going to cheat. My number 4 is, I was slipping extra ones in there, was the dealer area, because it's like in 2 parts. Just the regular stuff that Glenn was talking about, where you've got Black Blade Publishing, Lesser Gnome, Center Stage Minis.
And BadMike stuff, yeah.
Well, no, that's the second part. That's all cool enough. But the stuff that Mike and Doug bring to their own vending areas, it just shows the whole way they run the con, their love for the thing. Because like Darlene's Jasmine card game for sale right there in Doug's area. The old Ace of Aces hardback Kickstarter. I had given up hope on ever finding one of those for a decent price on eBay. I even asked sarcastically, I'm like, how much are those? And he's like, $40. I'm like, done! Give me one. And if you had deep pockets, he had shrink wrap, Holmes basic sets there.
I was drooling over
the original
those.
display.
Yeah.
Every year she drools over those.
He has more and more of them every year. It's like the first year, it's like he's got one Holmes box set, perfect condition. Ooh, that's cute. That's cool. The next year, there's 2 of them. This year, there's 3 of them. It's like, are they breeding? What are you doing?
Hey, I was going to buy one for Liz, but she had self-control.
Yeah, it was too expensive. We couldn't really afford that. I mean, they were beautiful, but I would not have been able to have. I couldn't bear to take them out of the shrink wrap, and I'm not so much of a collector mindset. I can't just spend hundreds of dollars for a game that will never be opened at all. I'll just sit and look at it. So, I mean, I want to use my games. Even
Right.
even the hard to find stuff. I think I want to still be able to open the box, carefully look through the books, and be able to really enjoy them.
I agree with you 100%. A game still in the shrink wrap is not a game; it's a collectible.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's why I wouldn't let Mike buy it, because it's like, no, it's shrink wrapped. I'd never take it out, and it's no. Okay.
I'm sorry, I wasn't listening. I was busy opening up my shrink wrap.
So in terms of a dealer area for a gamer of my generation, I get more stuff at North Texas Con. I go home with more stuff than I do from Gen Con, for crying out loud.
Wow.
Woohoo!
Really?
Yeah, and I probably would be the same, which is why it gets harder every year to try to talk myself into considering Gen Con. It's like, I can't. Yeah. Okay. Glenn, you're 4?
Well, the one I was going to say, I'm going to say for number 3. But, the dealers. Great bunch of people. BadMike, damn it. Every time I think I picked your stuff over, you always bring new stuff every year. Stop it. Everything. I found like a couple of Forgotten Realms region books I was looking for and stuff. Nice to see Blackblade there. They had copies of Playing at the World. I was surprised. Mm-hmm. I was even more surprised to find out John Peterson was there all weekend, and I never got him to sign it.
He wasn't there all weekend. He was just there for the day.
What day?
Saturday, I think.
Saturday, I believe.
Yeah, but it's like, I didn't until after they told me. I found out on Facebook afterwards he was there.
I didn't find out until I emailed him, and he said, "By the way, I hated missing you," and like, you were there.
Yeah. Oh boy. Yeah, I've been sitting down and reading that book. It's
awesome.
It is awesome. And some of the deals, I finally got my Astonishing Swordsmen and Sorcerers of Hyperborea, and it is every bit as awesome as Jim says. Ash. Yeah, ASSH.
Well, yeah.
I always mangle it when I say it, but that's me. I can't say things right.
What I find frustrating in the dealer's room is because I always want to buy something for my grandchildren. Because like, oh, Grandpa, where you been? What'd you buy me? That kind of thing. And my 2 grandsons like D&D, but their mother, as you know, their mother won't let them play it. And they're a little too young to read, 10 and 8. But I mean, they wouldn't get grog. They wouldn't grok rule books and stuff. So I buy them dice.
I did when I was that age.
Well, they're kind of hyper. But I always want to buy them like T-shirts and stuff. I couldn't find any. It's like, when am I going to get my grandkids? Damn it. I'm sure if they had like Hello Kitty dice bags, I could have got it for my granddaughters.
Now watch, next year, BadMike will have them.
Yeah, Hello Kitty dice bags and dice. Yeah,
and kid-sized T-shirts.
And kid-sized T-shirts too. Damn it, do it, Mike.
That's right.
That's right. But anyway, it's just, I love talking to the dealers and stuff, and people trying to talk me into spending more money than I have, and that's always fun, isn't it?
Hey, yeah,
that's our job.
BadMike, if you're listening, Glenn is an entirely trustworthy person to leave in charge of your booth, because I tried to get some, podcast discounts when you left him in charge, and he wouldn't give them to me.
I kept saying, wait for Mike. Okay, that's me. All right. Number 3 is related to this, but I'll wait.
Okay. And since BadMike isn't here, I'm going to use his slot here in the top 5 to mention some of the things that he wanted to mention. Namely that pretty much most of all the guests from this year have been signed on again for 2015, and some new ones, including Steve Perrin, Jeff Grubb, Liz Danforth,
wow,
yeah,
artist Mark Nelson, Ernie Gygax,
checking out the competition,
and Wolfgang Bohr.
Oh, Bauer, yeah.
Bauer, okay.
Yeah, I was asking BadMike earlier. It's like, how do you pronounce his last name? Because, is it Bar? Is it Bauer? What? Because we're all a little gun shy after we totally mangled Janelle Jakeway's name for the entire episode, and she said nothing until the end, And BadMike's going, I'm not really sure either. I've most often heard it Bar, but I don't know. It's like, well, okay,
Wasn't he the guy behind Cobalt Quarterly?
Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Okay.
Anyway, he and Steve Winter did the D&D Next adventure, Tyranny of Dragons. So
yeah,
he's a great guy. I worked with him on Gygax Magazine. He's fantastic.
If Grubb's coming, I am going to bug him so much if other people haven't about running a Facer Marvel game. He's got to run a Marvel game.
You have reached the end of episode 93, Side A. To hear the rest of the podcast, flip over the record and play Side B.